AfTS, Functional Speed Training and Development. We have two opposing videos here, guys, and the emphasis today is targeting the hip, ball and socket joints, hip flexors, musculature around the hips to increase hip flexion and speed. So the two videos obviously here is going to emphasize the hurdle aspect of our speed training program. Two individuals will be presented here. The individual to your left is a 9-year-old, and the individual will be flashing through your screen on the right is our 17-year-old high school linebacker. So again, we're emphasizing hip flexion or triple flexion, especially at the hip portion of the legs. Increasing the hip flexion quickly will result in an extended stride length, maximize stride length, and also maximize stride frequency, because that motion itself is very quick and very rapid. So let's go ahead and look at the videos here. The man to the right, as you can see, a lot of hip flexion, and to the left, let's look at it again. The videos timing are offset. They were taken at two different cameras, so bear with us in rewinding this segment for you for further emphasis. If you notice, there's a single leg option here on the right side. You have maximum hip flexion. So again, hurdle training helps to increase the exertion and the effort in hip flexion. We have a single leg individual here, single leg, focusing on this particular one on the left flexion area of the hip. Let's rewind that again. Play that. There you have it. Maximum hip action there. Again, this allows for what you call maximum exerted effort per the athlete. Okay, let's look over on this side here. Let's bring this back over. Again, this individual is a high schooler. He's already done the double leg hurdle jumps. He's very proficient at it. So we went back and reviewed the single leg, and of course there were no issues. He was able to escalate the hurdles very quickly because he has trained hip flexors. Let's watch it again. He's able to do that obviously with muscle memory. The video to the left sort of came out of nowhere, but let's go back. Again, this is a 9-year-old, and he's also been trained with this option shows a double leg hurdle jumps, but also again muscle memory and explosive hip action. Explosive hip action, maximal hip flexion on both hips. Again, what have you noticed here in terms of speed production? You notice the arms. These joints here, ball and socket joints, are similar to these joints here, ball and socket joints, and these work in unison. The greater the extension of the ball and socket joints, the shoulder will elicit a greater response in the hips. That is a fact. That's what we train here at AfTS. It's a functional movement pattern, and you'll see it on both sides. On both sides. This is what we teach. You can become an explosive sprinter or single leg. You can do broad jumps as well from learning this. Again, maximal shoulder joint, maximum shoulder joint that opens up the hips. And again, it's an explicit effort. It's a reactionary effort because we're using hurdles to train these individuals to do this. We're using 21 to 30-inch hurdles to train this response in both cases. Okay, this is about 21 to 30. 21 to 36-inch high hurdles. So it's no joke. Again, this is a 9-year-old. He's about 4'4". This young man here, the high school athlete, is about 5'10", 205 pounds. The young man to the left weighs 74 pounds. Okay, so again, you're eliciting explosive hip action. Again, the target is, the key to speed is movement patterning. That's what we teach at AfTS, Athletic Function Technique Specialist. Function. Movement pattern is what we focus on, and then we focus on creating tremendous amount of energy. Okay, that's what we focus on. So, stability first. Stability always precedes mobility. So when you look at the hurdles here, we're looking at stability in different ways. Stability in regards to the feet. Let's go back here. Look at this some more. Let this play out a little bit. Let this play out. We're looking at stabilizing joints first. The opposite joints have to stabilize. When you're alternating and running, you're alternating arm swings, shoulder swings, you're also alternating hip swings. So when you're running, the leg that is the foot that is up, the flight foot, the flight leg has to be stabilized. So here's how it alternates. We have to have stability first. So this joint here, the foot joint, has to stabilize. This stabilizes, okay, in order for the opposite hip to mobilize. You have to have stability alternated with mobility. You have to stabilize the joints to increase mobility. That is a known fact. You have to have that. Again, we have great stability taking place at the ankle. The ankle and the feet has to stabilize in order to mobilize the hip. It has to alternate. In order to establish front side mechanics, when you talk about sprinting, all focus of movement should be directed towards the hip flexor, quad, rectus femoris muscles, tendons, and joint should be the target. This focal point is solely responsible for lifting the legs forward. Remember, it has to be functional. It has to be functional. How the joints are designed. The target is the hip flexor complex. This is a target. This is a target. This is your target. Keep the legs towards the front side mechanics. This focal point is solely responsible for lifting the legs forward as far as possible, as fast as possible, to achieve its sole purpose, its functional purpose. Again, design. We have to look at design in order to develop speed. If we go beyond the design, we go against the design, we're not going to be able to generate energy which is transferred over as speed. It needs help nevertheless. As I talked to you before, the arms must swing back functionally. The arms must swing back functionally. As you notice, the arms from both of these candidates, maximal back swing to hit those joints. Maximal back swings. Maximal. It needs help. Arms must swing back functionally to generate elastic energy through SSC, stretch shortening complex. The quicker and efficiently this mass swings backwards, the quicker the hip rotates forward. Obviously there. Okay? The faster that happens. The faster, again, the ball and socket joints, which are similar in arms, attaching the arms to the torso, the legs to the hips, the faster that swings backwards, the quicker and faster the hips are hip flexors, that triple flexion, takes place. This is already in a triple flexion, emphasizing the single leg over here. We have triple flexion already established. Once he clears the hurdle, triple flexion takes place again. The opposing, there it is, triple flexion takes place again. The quicker the hips rotate forward, so to get the arms to the back as often as possible, the quicker you swing the arms towards the back, that will increase total body displacement or speed. Okay? It needs help. The feet must be stiff. The feet must be stiff. We talk about, you hear about dorsiflexion. Dorsiflexion, which means stiffness. In this position of greatest stability, the hips are allowed greater contraction speed potential. Again, when you have dorsiflexion or stiffening of the foot and the ankle, that's how I cue my athletes. It creates more stability to allow greater mobility at the hip. Greater mobility at the hip. It needs help. Also, with the feet, touch forward after touchdown as soon as possible. As soon as possible, as soon as you land, you have explosive ground reaction forces. The stiffer the feet, the greater the ground reaction forces, which explodes you forward. Stiff feet explodes you forward. As you notice, the arms are still moving, but we already covered the arms. Now, as I mentioned before, the faster the arms swings towards the back, the faster the hips comes up. Okay? So, again, let's go back to the feet. The faster, the stiffer or dorsiflect the feet, the less time you spend on the floor, and the quicker you move, your body moves forward. In this case, it's more of a vertical displacement. It's more of a vertical displacement. Obviously, you do see it here. Look at all that energy. If you're going backwards, complete energy. Dorsiflexion. So it needs help. Frontside mechanics for running. This is all frontside mechanics, guys, girls. You don't see any back kicking, which drives me crazy when you're talking about athletes. You have a great deal of frontside mechanics. Again, dorsiflexion of the feet allows you to explode. You have greater impulse. That's what they're studying nowadays. That's the most important thing that they're looking at in terms of speed development. Impulse. Catch animals, birds that don't spend time touching the floor. So these things are very, very important in terms of our overall speed development. So apparently you don't see these guys doing traditional speed core type workouts. Hurdles are extremely important. In fact, there are research that states the hurdle jumps complements the 100 meter, 200 meter, 400 meter dash, sprinting more so than any other exercise. If you doubt that, most certainly you can always double check. You can research it. If you find anything that's contrary to what I've stated, and I made it very, very simple, please contact us. We're on the Facebook at Elite Athletic Speed Training. Email leeigwe, LEEIGWE @gmail.com. Again, this is part of our program that, of course, we do a lot of stretches, also band stretches to keep this whole complex loose. So we do full range band stretches as well, elastic band, we use those things as well. So, and also we use resistance training to increase. Obviously you see the deadlift right here, so we also work on deadlifts as our main power exercise. Okay, for even the 9-year-old, he's doing deadlifts as well, for of course less amount of weights, but we're using it to simulate hip action, quick hip explosiveness, and also muscle building of the quads and the hams and the gastrocs also. So thank you very much for your time. You can also look us up on Instagram under Igwe, IGWEEEEEEE. So that is all. Thank you very much. Again, this is brought to you by AfTS, as Athletic Function Technique Specialist, and have a great evening. And get your scholarships. That's what we're here for. Get your scholarships. Doesn't matter if you're 9 years old or if you're a 17-year-old candidate.